All right, what's up? Time to talk about some Doom again. Are you sick of me talking about Doom yet? Probably, but I like Doom. What can I say? So Doom is something that, like I say, I do talk about quite a lot, but it's one of the most malleable genres and a genre that's very much at the forefront of the underground and just the metal scene in general. So Doom, the sludgy riffs, the atmospheric moments, the kind of lethargic pace of Doom and the kind of grooves, the harking back to the 70s in some senses, provides a really malleable platform for a band to go in different directions. You've got Doom bands like Avatarium, if we're still counting them, that take a more, I guess, pop approach and try and go for the more classic heavy metal sound in a lot of ways. And then you've got bands like, say, Black Breath from the UK, who take it in a much nastier, more kind of extreme direction. So there's just loads and loads of different stuff you can do with Doom. And one of the things that it lends itself very well to is the progressive side of things. And that's what today's album is all about. So Pallbearer with Heartless. Look at that, that is beautiful. So yeah, Pallbearer, they've had two albums out previously, picked up a lot of steam, picked up a lot of popularity. They are, ones to watch. They've always been marked out as, in a way, scene leaders or a band that really is about to explode, and one that can actually push out of the underground depths of Doom and penetrate much more mainstream rock and metal spheres. And this is the album to do it, really. Now, a friend of mine asked me, "Oh, should I check out this Pallbearer then?" I think they were ordering the new Mastodon album or something, and it recommended Pallbearer. And they said, "What does it sound like?" And I said, "Well, in a really kind of bare bones, boiling it down way, I guess they sound like Black Sabbath crossed with Pink Floyd on this album." Now, and he obviously thought, "Well, brilliant, sold, done." So he's probably picked that up now, but that's a very simplistic way of describing it, but those two influences certainly are the ones that come to mind, along with maybe the more kind of modern sludge bands like the earlier Mastodon, the Baronesses of this world. And this is an album that very much sits in the company of the Mastodons and the Baronesses and the Red Fangs, but it does its own thing completely. So a lot of these songs are very, very long. There's 11-minute songs. I think there's a 13-minute one at the end, and it just combines so many different elements of underground metal, but also more old school prog in a lot of ways. So, like I said, the Pink Floyd influence certainly creeps in with these kind of soaring slide guitar parts, these creamy tones, these bluesy inflections that remind me very much of David Gilmour, these beautiful kind of keyboard passages and these ambient effects. But what you've also got is some really just serrated, like just gargantuan riffs that just really give you that satisfying, come on kind of feeling that you get from really, really good metal. So if you're in it for the riffs, if you're in it for just banging your head, pumping your fists, and rocking out of a beer, then this album will definitely satisfy that. But if you want to get a bit more cerebral, if you want to lay back and really kind of drink it in and put some earphones on or set it up on a turntable and get the full immersive experience, then you can very, very much still do that as well. And that is typified in the first track, I Saw the End, which starts off with a really nasty, just satisfying riff, like a real kind of like, Big Mac. I mean, obviously I wouldn't eat a Big Mac because I'm vegetarian, but really kind of like big tasty burger of a riff that really kind of hits the spot in that meat and potatoes way that a good metal riff can. However, what you've also got is some really kind of soaring melodic vocals on the top of that as well that really set them apart from a lot of their peers. And the vocals, they've came on leaps and bounds, but there's still, you kind of feel like there's still a way to grow in terms of technical ability on there. But what it is it's somebody just absolutely pouring their heart into it. And there's almost like a flawed element to it as well, which makes it even better, I think. So if they were too perfect, if they were too soaring, if they were too, Ronnie James Dio like, then it might come off as a poor clone. But there's enough rough edges to it. There's enough rawness on there to stop it from descending into that. And these vocals, there's a few kind of shouted bits. They're not the heaviest like vocals you're ever going to hear. They're not like super extreme. They're not super gruff and growly. They're very much in the line of Ozzy in those kind of probably like latter period Sabbath albums before they went crap. So Sabotage, Sabbath Bloody Sabbath sort of era. And yeah, all the better for it. So vocals are great, and the clean passages make an appearance. And what you've also got is big hooks, big choruses, and stuff that gets stuck in your head. And even though a lot of these songs, they don't adhere to conventional structures in a lot of ways, they really pop in those moments where the hooks are there, and there's a lot to latch onto. And that, for that reason, I think that is why they can do so many different things, and that's why they've got potential to cross out of those boundaries. But if you want to just full-on rocker, you've also got Thorns, the second track, which again is just classic Doom. Not as proggy as a lot of the stuff on there, but there's some really satisfying moments, and there's a beautiful kind of clean guitar passage which sounds like some kind of medieval folk. And I love all that stuff about Doom when it just sounds like, you can picture a scene with like, well, that first Sabbath album, the bell ringing in the village, and rain pouring down, and some kind of grim kind of medieval party happening. Maybe somebody's turning a wild boar or something. But yeah, that kind of stuff. It's got the power to conjure images. This album, you can see pictures with a lot of these songs. And yeah, Thorns is just a great kind of satisfying example of that, while not being the most groundbreaking part of it. I mean, I'd probably say the centerpiece of the album, in a lot of ways, is Dancing with Madness, which just starts off just amazingly. It just does everything that this album does well is distilled into this one song, this beautiful 11-12 minute center point. And you've got heavy parts, and you've got that soaring Pink Floyd intro. The riffs just drip with soul, and the lead playing, it's, truly like out of the top drawer. Classic rock in the best way possible, not in a dated way, in a way that sounds vital and soulful. And yeah, just an absolutely astonishing song. And yeah, there's no real kind of weak spot in it. I mean, you've got the heavy parts like Live Survival, Cruel Road's a good one. The title track, again, just reverts to searing aggression. And then finally we cap it off with A Plea for Understanding, which again is absolutely gobsmacking. Longest song on there, some beautiful melodic vocals on there as well, some really kind of hook-laden parts. Could you call it a chorus? Well, it's more of a motif in a lot of ways, but yeah, these things come in, and it just makes for a really rewarding listen. If I'm being super critical of the album, there's not as much variety in pace in some places. It takes a long time to digest all that's going on, but all of it's great. There's not a weak moment. It's just sometimes it can be a lot to take in, and that's just a general criticism of Doom. So, I'm not expecting them to just put a 3-minute thrasher on there. I'm not expecting them to go in like all kinds of different directions. I think the strength of the album is the way it works with the genre and pushes it to another level without changing into something completely different. So yeah, if I'm being super critical, it takes a while to absorb, but it really is worth it. It's one of those albums, and this is what I love, and this is what I think makes a classic album, is it can be something that you can instantly enjoy, instantly recognisable things on the surface that make, oh great, this is a great listening experience, but you can tell straight away on your first listen there's a lot going on that you're not picking up that first time, and it really makes you want to go back to it. And I've really listened to this album a lot, and they're not a band that were particularly on my radar before, but they're certainly a band that I'm going to go back and really get involved in a bit more, and they're certainly a band that I'm going to keep watching, and I think their best work is actually ahead of them, although this is a pretty fucking special centerpiece to their career so far. So yeah, Pallbearer, Heartless. Do check it out because it's going to be one of the standout releases of the year, and I will be back soon to talk about some more stuff. Keep it metal, or don't, keep it doom.